Yeah, I want to share this with you. Yesterday out here in Amelia, Virginia, the the extremely small Democratic Party, Democratic Committee, they call themselves, in Amelia. Well, this is a heavily, that's to say the least, a heavily Republican area. This county, with about 13,000 population, it's about 1,300 African Americans here. So the small Democratic committee that's about 50-50 Caucasian and African American had this little rally, and what's his name? Mark Herring, who's the what's they call that? The state's attorney, the district attorney, was supposed to come, but he got called to DC to deal with Biden and folks that's going on there. So this sister came to represent him. Her name was Marquita, Reverend Dr. Marquita Carmichael, and she made a pretty powerful presentation. And after that, I got to meet her and talk to her. She introduced me to her husband, and her husband is named Reverend Dr. Darnell Carruthers. I said, you're Carruthers? You know Jacob Carruthers? That was my father, Jacob Carruthers. Whoa. And he was noticing the arc that I had on. He said, I gather that you're involved with the Egyptian spiritual studies. I said, well, yeah, we call it kinetic. He says, well, you know, I wish I had understood what my father was doing earlier in life, and I probably wouldn't be in this position I'm in now. But he's with the church. He's got a church in Powhatan, which is about 25 or 30 miles from where I live. And so I'm looking forward to visiting him one of these Sundays and see what they do over there. I asked him, did they do any Kwanzaa things? He said, no, we haven't, not since I've been there. So I offered to send him.
So there's your opening.
Yeah,
right.
I offered to send him a copy of my book and my CD.
Yeah.
And he did say, well, you know, those Kwanzaa values and principles, they're very, very important for us as people. So we'll see how that goes. But that was whoa, Jacob Carruthers.
Hey, you know what, Minister, if you wouldn't, it's 10:04. But just if you could take a minute to explain, I'm sure there's people on here and that there are people that will see this later. They don't know who Dr. Jacob Carruthers was. We want to give us a little thumbnail?
Well, it'll be a little thumbnail. I can't just off the top remember in great detail, but he was one of, as I'm remembering right, with ASCAC had the first gathering, what do they call it? Meeting, convention in Southern California, I think in LA. He was one of the presenters there. We at Wosay, Oakland went there, and that was a big turning point for us to go there and hear the scholars, including Dr. Carruthers and others, you know, sharing their insights, their discoveries, their studies on ancient Kemet. I know Dr. Carruthers was the leader of an organization where somewhere in the middle of the U.S. I can't.
You said Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, and was it the Kemetic Institute or something like that?
Yeah, let's see. Right off the top, I don't remember. I got one of his books in my cabinet over here. I need to get it out and take a look. But like I said, he was part of that movement, that coming together of scholars, African-centered warrior scholars who you know, expanded the vision of Wosay, to guide us out of struggling with the Bible, to trying to find relevant passages for what the work that we saw ourselves needing to do, people that we saw ourselves needing to be. And he's one of those who's part of the foundation. And so to hear his son say, I wish I had understood what my father was was involved with earlier in life, and I'll probably not be in the position I'm in now, but I guess he's making the most of it.
Yeah, it was in
rest,
Chicago.
Huh?
It was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Let's
That's a
start
thumbnail that I can offer on that.
Yeah. Let's start our meditation, but that's more than providential that you would run into him like that.
Shit.
It's the Kemetic Institute and
Yes.
ASCAP. So that's where he started.
Okay. So there's a couple of things I want to share on screen before we get actually into the meditation. First is in the meditation, it's about the name Amen Ra. And the first symbol in that presentation is that of the budding reed leaf. And there is this home, this house, virtually around the corner from where I live. They have this plant growing, and it impresses me that this is the reed leaf we're talking about. I think I could be wrong, but it impresses me in that way. That in all that furry stuff, all there are seeds within that structure, those structures, and when the wind is blowing right, it'll blow those away, and those seeds, I'm sure, we look at some fertile ground to land on. And as I understand it, that's our challenge with the essence of the Most High that's entrusted unto us, finds a fertile ground on which to share that spirit. So I want to, to share this photo of that plant doing its thing. Okay, and let's see, where's the other one here? New share, okay. All right, so here's the new share, the meditation process that I want to share with you. And start off with at the top of the page here. Hope everybody can see that okay. Something that I put together, looking through Wallace Budge's book on what he calls, we call the book of coming forth by the day. Oh, the book of the dead, you call it. So looking at some of the presentations he had in this book, and I just put together this saying. Iui hena ek heru neb amen ra erma neferu ek amen ra inyi ker ek. And below it here is a way that might help you say that if you want, if anybody that decides they want to embrace that. But that's something that I do virtually every morning before anything. Allow me to be one with thee every day, Amen Ra, so I may see your sacred beauties. Amen Ra, I come to thee. So moving along, we're going to start the meditation by focusing on the reed leaf. It's to the left here. And the reed leaf is again, known as having that qualities, as many seeds that when the wind is blowing right, the seeds are blown off the plant and in search of fertile ground upon which to start new life. And so the meditation that I've come up with on this aspect of the name, the symbols of the Most High is Divine Holy Spirit, Great Spirit of life. Your sacred essence within calls me to live the sacred life, the life of truth and justice, balance and harmony, righteousness, right order, and reciprocity. in every cell and fiber of the temple that I be, always be Septepi in me. And then move into this chant of Amun Ra. Amun Ra. Amun Ra. So if you can reflect on that, if that has meaning for you, you take a couple of moments, allow you to have some time to reflect on that before we move on. Okay, we move on now to the Sinet game board. When I first saw a Sinet game board, I thought it was a Kwanzaa Kinara, but I've grown to understand it as a game board challenging those who are living the sacred way in ancient Kemet to be really familiar with, embedded with respect for the spirit of Mat. So that's what those 7 pegs are. They're not about being Guzo Saba principles, but in our day and time, they could be that also. And so the words of meditation that come to me were these: Spirit of eternity, intelligence, and creativity. May the spirit of Mat and the virtues of our sacred way guide my footsteps on the path to eternal oneness with thee. Always be Septepi in me. And once again, the chanting of the name of the Most High. Amen. Amen. And now we want to move on to the rippling water. You see that beneath the Sinet game board. And it's a sound. It's a sound that adds emphasis to the in sound in the name Amun. And that in sound was known to be the sound of the spirit of the Most High doing the work of creation. And so the words that I was led to were these: divine generosity, holy sacred sovereignty. With every breath of life, I know you come to me. Always be Septepi in me. Again, we chant the name of the Most High. Amen. Amen. And next, we want to focus on the mouth. You see it there to the right of the game board. And for me, the mouth calls into consciousness as a creation of Ra Espatah in the Huthia shares with us. The seeing, the hearing, the breathing, the utterance that brings creation into being, brings all of that into play for me. And so I was led to these words. In me, let your heart arise with love and might, energize. Power to perceive and analyze that which comes through the seeing of my eyes, the hearing of my ears, and the breathing of my nostrils. Power to perceive and realize that which ought to be for the greatest good of family and community. Let every word of my mouth reflect that sacred, creative reality. Always be Septepi in me. Amen. Ra. Amen. Amen. We move on to the forearm and the hand. I've led to these words. As I come forth, night and day, let it be the sacred way. As it is above with thee, let it be below with me. Not only in the words that I say, but even more in the things that I do. Always be Septepi in me. Amen. Ra. Amen. Amen. So let's now focus on the solar disc there beneath the forearm and hand. And there are these words. Let your light shine on me until my heart is truly free, free to live as one with thee, here and now, and for all eternity. Always be Septepi in me. Amen. 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 As we move our focus to that anthropomorphic symbol all the way to the right, that's not endeavoring to be a picture of no such thing exists. But that's, as I understand it, what this name, what these meanings are calling us to do, calling us to be. The ancestors who've gone before us did all they knew how, and every way they knew how to indeed do just that. So that's who this is representing, those ancestors gone before us in ancient times, and those perhaps recent times who were inspirational in our lives. And so I've led to these words: divine creator, strong liberator, sacred ancestors, eternal parents and elders, always be Septepi in me. Amen. Ma. Amen. Amen. At the bottom there, as we open our eyes and come back together visually, the bottom is a term there, katim. We used to use that in Oakland, we'll say at the end of meditation times in the mornings. I don't know if it's been used recently. My impression is that it hasn't. But we learned that from our brother, Raymond Davis, very much intelligent man in terms of Kemetic traditions. But katim means to seal it up, to close it, it's done. Often uttered at the end of sacred readings and rituals. It means a closed place, a fortress, stronghold, an enclosure. So I'm seeing that as what we're growing to know and be in terms of this meditation. We allow it to be our spiritual fortress, that we protect ourselves and share who we are, what Spirit is calling us to share. And so let's close this with 3 Ketems. Ketem, Ketem, Ketem. And so Ashe.